and welcome to our Week 6 Learning Guide video for our CIS 2131 course, Python Programming. For this week, be sure to read through the syllabus carefully and to read the appropriate chapters based on the syllabus, read any supplemental material, if any, that I've provided, and watch any video lectures I've posted a link to. For graded assignments this week, note that Project 2 is due at the end of the week, so be sure to finish up work on that and to get that turned in before the end of the week here. And also note that Project 3 is assigned. So let's take a look at Week 6 on D2L. So here's our Week 6 module. You can see I've got the learning guide here. There's a link to Chapter 6 of our course textbook here, and the lecture and the slides I use in the lecture for this week. There isn't many assignments this week, and that's to give you time to wrap up Project 2 and begin work on Project 3. So again, under Week 4, you can find Project 2 and you can turn that in when you are done with it. And here is Programming Project 3. There's a link to the GitHub Classroom here. Again, remember, give it a little bit of time. It should send you an email and you'll be able to get into your repository. I would accept this assignment early on here, probably this week I would do it, and also get started on the assignment this week just to give yourself enough time. So let's go ahead and look at the document for the instructions for the assignment. So for this project, you're going to write a Python program that simulates creating an account, okay? So the program is going to collect user information such as name and email, and it will validate the email address using realistic rules. It will generate a username suggestion and print a clear validation report, okay? If the input is invalid, then the user must be prompted to try again until a valid signup is completed. So the first thing is you'll collect user input, right? So you're gonna ask the user for first name, last name, email address, a confirm email address where they'll type the email address again, and a student ID number. Now, obviously, when you're going and doing this and taking screenshots and stuff, you don't need to use real names or real email addresses or your real student ID number. Just make it up. That's fine. Use strip on each input to remove extra spaces, and the first and last name can't be blank. Obviously, the email can't be blank also, or the student ID number. So nothing can be blank here. And then you're going to do the email validation. So your program must validate the email using the rules below and display pass or fail for each rule in a report. There's more on the report towards the bottom here. The basic structure rules, right? The email needs to have exactly one @ symbol. @ cannot be the first or last character. The email cannot have spaces. It can't have consecutive dots. The domain part after the @ symbol contains at least one dot. And the domain does not start with or end with a dot, okay? Allowed character rules. You should split the email into two parts, the local part before the @ and the domain part after the @. The local part can contain letters, digits, and the period, underscore, and dash. The domain part can only contain letters, digits, and the period or dash. And for the domain rules, you should reject banned domains. So these three domains will be banned domains for the assignment. So you can't use @test.com, @fake.com, or @example.com. And then the top level domain must be 2 to 6 characters, right? So .edu is valid, and the top level domain is this last part after the period here, in an email address. Okay, so the edu is the top level domain. So .c is invalid because it's only one character, right? C. And this .too long with a lot of G's is invalid because it's over 6 characters, okay? So those are the rules for the email validation. Confirm email is nice and simple. Your confirm email just needs to match the email that was provided, and it can be case insensitive. Just stay consistent throughout your program on it. The student ID, it needs to be exactly 5 digits, and it can only be digits, so no letters and no spaces, please. And no symbols, so digits 0 through 9, right? generate a username suggestion. So after a successful sign up, which means the email and everything was validated, you can generate a username. So the format is first initial plus last name plus last 2 digits of student ID. So for example, John Smith, it would be J Smith and then the last 2 digits 00 in this example. The username rules, it needs to be lowercase and it must contain only letters and digits. Okay. And then the validation report output. So after the user's input has been validated, you should print a report like this. Okay. So you can say in the output account sign up validation report, and then all of these fields, I know it's a lot of fields, but all of these fields need to be printed and they should display whether they have passed or failed the validation process. Okay. If all of them pass, then you can print account created successfully. If any of these fail, you should print sign up failed, please try again, and then you need to loop back and ask again for the user's input. Okay. And then obviously you can break out of the loop once they all pass. Okay. So you'll submit your project in a GitHub repository, right, through the link I provided. And in the GitHub repository, you should also include screenshots of your program running. You can go ahead and add the screenshots to your local repository folder. You can push the changes to github.com to the remote repository, and I will be able to see them there. Note the due date on project 3, and I'd recommend getting an early start. A lot of this has to do with some of the stuff we learned this week regarding strings and just working with strings. So hopefully, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. Okay. I'll be able to answer any questions you have and get you all set. So that'll do it for the learning guide video for the week. And I will see you guys in the lecture.